You're captured off screen by slavers for using dark magic. They execute you by firing squad. A demon comes out of your bloody arrow holes and yells at them. The demon says you have the blood of Richard Coeur de Lion. An explosion. Badass assassins teleport into the facility and start slaughtering everyone. The demon says we gotta go. You convince the guard you were in the Navy together. You kill your old Navy buddy and f***ing run. Leonardo da Vinci teleports you to Barcelona. You're surrounded by goblins, Spaniards, fluidless corpses, and Saracens. Motherfucking Lionheart, Legacy of the Crusader. Let's go. Our guy. Our name is Florencio Borges, a mercenary knight from Coimbra, Portugal. We go for a two-handed crit build, appropriate for a soldier of fortune. We can bless our sword with the power of God and use tribal magic to absorb hit points from the recently dead. As a demon man, we're hated by good Christians for our tainted blood, yet it grants us strange vampiric powers. Part 1. Da Vinci says that in order for us to progress the main story and find out who's trying to assassinate us, we have to join a faction. There are 3 to choose from: the Knights Templar, sworn to protect sacred relics, the Spanish Inquisition, which effectively rules Europe, or the Wielders, an illegal mages guild that hides in a pretty badass pocket dimension. Since we're a warrior guy, we're gonna join the Knights Templar. You're waylaid by side quests and must defend yourself. A hastily made pre-order dungeon that gives us a crit necklace with possibly severe but non-specific downsides. Some dude at the docks tries to mug us, but we kill him and his pals and eat their souls. Machiavelli needs a bodyguard. Assassins show up immediately. Then he confesses to setting us up to be captured in the intro, and we kill him for it. He quotes his own book the whole time. Wang Choi, the diplomatic envoy from China, is also a primo magic item dealer. If we get him rare books, Wang promises to make us one of his special friends and sell us stuff we need for other quests. You can get the captain of a Spanish cutter a magic wind scroll. Wang Choi has it. Foreshadow the Armada and the English weather mages. Ooh. Magic has bewitched Miguel Cervantes, and he needs our help to fight trees. Main quest. Back on track, a squire tells us where to find Templar HQ, the Temple District. The guard at the gate rebukes our demonic ancestry, but he lets us pass when we mention that we want to join the Knights. The recruiter is also a racist, but like most military recruiters, he becomes a real bro once you seem interested in joining up. He has a task for us to prove ourselves, but Florencio cuts him off. Senor, it's done. The thief is already dead. Wow, he says. Impressed with our prescience and swordsmanship alike, he sends us to meet the regional manager at the chapel. This guy is super nice. He'd love to have us on board, helping guard the True Cross from the forces of evil and stuff. All he needs is a dono of 1,000 doubloons. No big deal. It's just to prove we're loyal. And shit, we're poor. The sewers. Back to side quests. Marisol's little brother Tomas has gotten lost in the sewers. I don't see any reason why a kid would want to go into the sewers. It's full of acid lizards, and actually there's like a gang war going on down here. There's no set dressing that he'd want to play with or be curious about. It's just empty halls. Anyways, the thieves are at war with the were-rat beggars. We're told this pretty much as soon as we enter, in a paragraph of hasty exposition, and are immediately forced to take a side without getting to learn anything about the factions. Florencio hates this, so we side against the guy making us choose, which means we're with the thieves. This will turn out to be suboptimal, as siding with the beggars would have actually awarded us with a point of luck if we complete the quest. Apparently the thieves have already heard of Florencio's allegiance to them too. They're just walking around in the hallways. They're obviously here to be opponents. They have nothing to say. They have no significant interactions. After wandering around and killing lizards and beggars for a while, we finally find someone with a name. Juanita Suarez, the mistress of the Thieves Guild. It seems the Inquisition put old Juanita up to genociding the were-rats, which she's pretty forthright about. Even though Florencio's dripping with were-rat blood, she expects us to prove ourselves. So let's go, fuck it. Way to go find her locket, which is on an unnamed were-rat somewheres. So basically we just clear a bunch of the dungeon until we find it. She's stoked, and she trusts us now. She trusts us so much that she's gonna allow us to mount a solo attack on the were-rat leader with no support whatsoever. Feel the trust, you guys, feel it. The were-rat dude is actually super strong and has a dot that killed Cervantes and Florencio the one time we did manage to take him down. So we leave to seek XP and magic items elsewhere. We start looking for a tavern to find the information for the Knights of Saladin, but accidentally find Da Vinci's workshop. Da Vinci's a mage in this setting and is apparently mastered by location, as he has a sprite here and in the market. Conveniently, Da Vinci knows pretty much exactly what happened to Miguel Cervantes, a classic case of magic writing quill abuse. Reminiscent of a Ronnie James Dio song, the words have come out real, and we must kill Don Quixote at an old windmill. Back in town, we find the tavern, and while Christopher Columbus yells at some moneylender, no doubt a quest, we discover that Consuelo the Bardmaid is actually an Arabic man in disguise, and he has intel for the Knights of Saladin, the location of some thieves that have stolen a magic item. The leader of the Knights of Saladin wants us to go get it for him. As an initiation, raid a slaver fortress alone and you can join our gang. The demon spirit hasn't said shit in hours, by the way. The slaver fortress. Florencio traverses the woods, looking for the slaver's fort for what would be days if this game had any sort of day-night cycle. Many wolves and goblins fall to Florencio's blade. The goblins around Barcelona are either allied with the Mongol Empire, or they are analogous to and replace the Mongol Empire in this setting. We also find the wreck of an Egyptian ship full of zombies. We gain 2 levels and find a bunch of magic gear, several upgrades, and plenty of gold. Crucial to our build, we take the first rank of more criticals. After 2 hours of clearing the forest, Florencio is nearing his encumbrance limit, and I'm getting bored and I don't know where to go, so we head back to Barcelona, the Were-Rat King. Having gained a bunch of HP, and with massively improved gear, we square off with the Were-Rat King again. Florencio discovers that he has the power to freeze time and drink potion after potion. You can just pause the game and spam potions. The Were-Rat King thus dies a pathetic death, and we get lost on our way back to Juanita. Juanita gives us a reward for doing her whole guild's job. The location of a house with some magic items in it. She informs us that if we rob it and pay her a tribute, she'll have more work for us. Given the quality of this quest so far though, I'm not very hyped. Juanita demands a tribute of 70 gold. We've grown quite rich from pawning magic items, so we can pay it. She's stoked and sends us to collect another 70 gold from some pauper who lives on the docks. We don't even have the option to say no, so we go do that. Looking for the place, Florencio strikes up a conversation with a local fisherman. It seems that sea monsters have eaten all the fish, and he wants to buy our stack of lizard skulls for a scrimshaw. Carving bones is his new livelihood. We find the house, and nobody bothers us as we pick the lock. This guy doesn't even fight, he just pays his dues. Why was he hiding in here if he had the money? On the way back to Juanita, we find a part of the dungeon we haven't explored yet with a Templar corpse. It's not a Templar corpse at all, but a wounded guy for some future quest. He refuses to leave without killing the thieves, and he will not accept our neutrality. Florencio is far too deep into the thief questline to allow this fool to fuck it up. The stranger must die. Juanita is once again impressed at the deftness of Florencio Borges' low-level thuggery. So impressed is she that she offers us one final job. Have sex with her. So while the Beggars Guild may reward you with +1 luck, the Thieves Guild allows you to actually get lucky. Even though this questline had boring objectives and failed to feel dramatic at any point, getting old Florencio laid somehow makes it all so much less irritating. Chapter 9. We mount another mission into the woods to try to find the slaver fort. The Goblin Mongols have very aggressive warriors and deadly archers that hit as hard as our greatsword. They occupy a large portion of the woods this far west of Barcelona. We're level 8 now, but these gobos are still able to kill us if we don't move carefully and pull with our weak fire spell. These fights start to feel like a slog too. Your mana regenerates very slowly, and healing spells are somewhat inefficient, at least for a warrior type. Without mana, Florencio's only option is auto-attacking. And even with our medium armor, the goblins seem to have an 80% hit rate. After skirmishing with the goblins for some time and finding some loot and some items, but no slaver fortress, we return to Barcelona. It's time to try to push the main quest. Joining the Templars, we go see Lord Javier and pass him a bag of coins covered in dried blood. Senor, I have the 1,000. Of course, he explains, no initiation is complete without extensively testing my resolve with side quests. Florencio nods and pretends to smile. Esteban, guard of the crossroads, is our first errand master. As it turns out, Florencio has done it again. Kill the wasps, kill the wolves, etc. We've already cleansed this area of evil. He goes and verifies. Verify it. Muy excelente. He sends us back to the main guy. The main guy sends us to Sir Ulrich, a man who has already provided us with drudgery in the past. Can't wait. Y'all remember the knight that we killed in the sewers? Yeah, Ulrich wants us to find him. We can immediately report him dead, which really saves a lot of time. Definitely getting the bad ending so far.
With valor in the pursuit of his...
Lord Javier instructs us to commission from the local blacksmith a lion shield. This is a symbol of our commitment to the Templars. Florencio has dumped about 4 levels of skill points into 2-handed weapons and will not be using this magic shield at all. Eduardo the blacksmith will forge our lion shield, just for the honor of doing so. But alas, there's a problem. For some reason that I wasn't paying attention to, his heirloom family sword has been lost or stolen or something. We have it in our inventory, of course. Why, Eduardo, you're not going to believe this?
The blade!
Now we gotta go get some special metal, which Florencio humorously cannot pronounce, from a cave controlled by goblins in the woods. Lit. Here's a weird one. This goblin is force-feeding some child right outside the cave. It's fattening her up to eat as some sort of delicacy. Florencio tells the goblin to carry on, like no worries, but the goblin becomes hostile anyways and attacks. Some farmer asked us to look for this kid a while back. There she is. There's a lot of caves in the woods full of goblins, of course, but this seems to be the one. There's a distinct lack of set dressing to indicate that this place is a mine or has any metal. Like I would have accepted a few pickaxes, a wheelbarrow, but there's nothing. This is another area of the game that struggles from really weak encounter design. We basically just move forward slowly, trying not to aggro too many goblins at a time. Very tedious gameplay, made worse by the need to retreat and suck souls frequently. We find this little side cave with a wooden fence that goblin archers can shoot you through. There doesn't seem to be any way to get past it or destroy it, so we focus our assault on the main cave. We get to the back of the cave and find a yurt full of loot, and a giant yellow crystal that teleports to the other side of that wooden fence, directly into the goblin kill zone. The solution, and this was painful, was to get a bow and use an accuracy buff spell to slowly kill half of the goblins behind the fence. This allowed Florencio to survive long enough to run to the other teleport crystal. And this one took us to a safe hallway with a boss fight against a blue wasp and a bunch of his wasp cronies. And then we find the magic metal in a chest, just like in a real mine. When we get back to the blacksmith guy, he finally makes the shield and we can now go be initiated into the Knights Templar. Chapter 11. Lord Javier is most pleased to see us carrying our lion shield. He knows we're ready. Ready for what? Ready to mount a one-man assault on the fucking slaver fortress. Florencio ventures back into the woods again, exploring all the maps west of Barcelona looking for that fabled slaver fortress. Along the way we rescue a brave idiot from goblins. He has the same sprite as the town guards, which I personally like. The game has given us another companion, but he is not voiced and he has no barks and he has no quests. I won't even tell you his name. We discover a huge goblin camp, but these dudes are not hostile, and only one map away there's a group of bounty hunters collecting goblin ears and burning their settlements. This is the only guy in the game so far who's been nice to me for being a demon man. He doesn't give us a quest. Finally, we find the slaver base a few maps south of the goblin village. The slaver base. This is the same slaver fort that we started the game in. The slavers have got a bunch of were-rats guarding the front, and they themselves are the same sprites and the same stats as the sewer thieves. The goblins and wasps and crap that we painfully slayed our way through to get here were a lot stronger than the slavers. So we get to dramatically murder our way through the dungeon, taking revenge on those who enslaved us, which is neat, but it's pretty lame in my opinion from a design perspective. The place was hard to find with really strong enemies on the road. I don't think we could have reached the slave pits without being overleveled for the content. The slaver lord impotently reminds us that we are his slave. We kill him. He has the gem that the Knights of Saladin wanted, and we get the quest update for the Templars. We return to Barcelona. Lord Javier has convened a council to discuss the crisis that is not public knowledge. Since we have killed over 100 people since our arriving in Barcelona, he thinks we should be a part of it. It seems that the forces of darkness, which we understand to mean monsters, are trying to steal the relics for some dark plot. The relics are the reason the Knights of Saladin have been camping outside the city as well. Lord Javier plans to send a contingent to Montserrat to protect the Crown of Thorns. Lionheart Legacy of the Crusader is $10 USD on Steam, and that will be your mission if you buy it. Review. Lionheart has a really great alternate history setting and a classic Chosen One RPG setup. The game has a great art style and attractive sprites. The maps are well decorated in Barcelona, but the dungeons are really dull. Every hallway looks the same and there's no set dressing or decor to make one believe in, for example, the fiction of people living in the sewers. The game is severely lacking in polish in this way. The voice acting, though, throughout is top-notch. The dialogue itself is well written and feels appropriate to the characters. That said, I kind of feel that the devs shamelessly employ historic figures to get you on boring and underwritten quests. Machiavelli's quest is a good example. It's only 2 scenes and there's no payoff. It seems like something that should have been either expanded on or just left on the cutting room floor. Similar to Da Vinci, he saves you at the beginning and then that's it. He has no connection to you or anything. He just tells you to join a faction and fucks off. All you can do with him later is help him invent a crossbow. Many of the game's side quests are stupid as well. Finding the Thief Queen's locket by slaying anonymous were-rats is about as imaginative as bringing someone 10 boar hides in an MMO from the same time period. Also, many quests have some sort of unrelated favor that needs to be done before like the real quest with the real writing can begin. None of these had any depth or stakes, and mostly they just provided more excuses to kill goblins and wolves. I didn't intentionally even complete all those minor objectives. It was like incidental to me just looking for other stuff in the woods. Combat overall, at least for the melee build, is very tedious and boring. There's no mechanic outside of auto-attacking and spells. It doesn't feel like one has any tactical input. You just try to aggro a few enemies at a time, you compare your stats to theirs, and then you wait for your mana and your health to recharge for the next one. I wish that I could recommend Lionheart. The setting is great. The characters are really cool and have a lot of potential, but like the lazy quest design, the bad combat make it really impossible for me to do so. If you want to play this game, I would highly recommend you go online, find an optimized build, or play on God mode or something like that. And if this is your favorite game, please comment and tell me why I'm an idiot and why the game is so good. To succeed, you must believe. When you believe, you will succeed. Bless up.
In 1192, the Knights of the West waged the Third Crusade against the armies of the East. King Richard the Lionhearted defeated his rival, the great Sultan Saladin, and captured the city of Acre. When Saladin failed to pay a ransom demanded by the Crusaders, Richard heeded the counsel of one of his trusted advisors and had 3,000 prisoners put to death. But this traitorous advisor had tricked Richard into completing an ancient ritual, the disjunction, a catastrophe that caused demons, monsters, and spirits to spill across the land like a black tide. Faced with this grave threat, Richard and Saladin joined forces and fought side by side to save humanity, fearlessly engaging the creatures and driving them back, at last sealing the rift caused by the disjunction. Although Lionheart and Saladin were victorious, magic and terrible creatures had escaped into the world, changing the lands forever. Centuries passed, and humanity struggled to deal with the many changes wrought by the disjunction. Magic mingled with the bloodlines of humankind. Spirits joined with people, granting magical power to some and bringing misery to others. Many cities were razed in countless conflicts against the evil forces that escaped during the cataclysm. Brave Crusaders honored the legacy of Lionheart and fought this evil across Europe and Asia. The Knights Templar of the West and the Order of Saladin in the East waged war against the forces of darkness, while the Inquisition sought to rebuild civilization and purge all those possessed with diabolic magic. Today, in 1588, these valiant orders have brought a degree of security and peace to a chaotic world. But I am haunted by a disturbing vision. Dark schemes threaten to break a fragile peace. While the betrayer seeks an age once lost, a new war will be waged in the West and East, its outcome hanging on a coin just tossed. But before the spinning coin can land, it will be caught by the slaver's hand.